Welcome to the Backyard Professor Live Sunday night. What is it doing being December 7th already? I swear to goodness, Christmas is just right around the corner. We're going to blink and it's here. And it feels to me like it's the first of the year. I look back at the year and I don't think I've accomplished anything. It's crazy how this works, man. The older you get, the faster time flies. I'm just saying, I personally experienced that. I know that's true. Wait till you get to be my age. Hopefully, everybody will and go beyond. But okay, so I'm excited to share some news with you. I apologize, I did not get any of my either UFO or Tolkien videos presented this week. I have received my brand new J.R.R. Tolkien book, though. This is the one by Carl Hostetter. This is The Nature of Middle Earth. Now, he was one of the scholars, Tolkien scholars of the Tolkien estate, whom Christopher Tolkien, J.R.R.'s son, pulled under his wing, and they helped put out information on Middle Earth. Hostetter is one of the main editors of the Parma Eldalamberon, which is the Elvish Linguistic Society. They discuss the various aspects of Quenya and Sindarin, the Elven languages that are spoken of in Middle Earth, And so I'm excited to get into this book. I do have some, thanks to all those who are interested and who have enjoyed the Tolkien materials. Thanks to all of you who have been enjoying the UFO materials, but I'm dropping all of it and I'm going to start taking underwater basket weaving. Yes, I'm kidding. One, I can't hold my breath that long, and two, I have no idea how to make baskets. So I will leave that to the professionals of basket weaving. But no, I am enjoying learning Sindarin, the Elvish language that is basically about talking, speaking, not necessarily writing. Quenya, they say, is based more like Latin is to English. It's the more formal language. Sindarin is the common people's language, and that's the one I'm learning so that I can speak it with my grandkids so that we can have a secret language together to talk and write. And I have to teach them the Tengwar script and all that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're reading the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings together. It is mainly in the Third Age for you Tolkien fans. It is in the Third Age of Middle Earth that Sindarin was spoken. So anyway, the Tolkien news to the side. I will read this book. I'll probably do my live next week on this book, on the Tolkien. Hostetter is absolutely phenomenal with the Elvish language. He is really good. And he is a linguist par excellence, so it'll be fun. So let's see who's here. Cynical Banana. I saw Tim Rathbone a few minutes ago. S-Bar091. Woo! Cosmic Stuff. Good to see you. I saw UFO Busters Australia. Yeah. You are always here, and I appreciate it. You and Tim and everybody else. All right, Oregon Squatch. You mean as in Sasquatch? You know, they've seen him. They have videos of him. They have his footprints. One guy said he used to throw acorns at him. He would hide in the shadows and chuck acorns at him and hit him in the head with it and all that, attacking him. So, yeah. So, anyway, that's about enough of Sasquatch. He's not here that I'm aware of in my neck of the woods, although his cousins probably are. I've seen a few of them while I was out shopping. So, hey, Timmer, good to see you, my man. You'll be blessed. Good. Zwitter Elf. I love it. Yeah, Sasquatch. All right, Roberto. DRoberto. At DRoberto72. Good to see you. So, no, I do not want to get squashed by a Sasquatch. Or a squitched by a Sasquatch or whatever. Here's to living free and roaming wild. That's what I do on the Tolkien message boards. I live free and roam wild, and they all get a little bit huffy with me because I show such good competence with Tolkien's materials. No, I have a lot of Tolkien stuff I want to share with you. I truly do. But tonight, I thought I would do something that is exquisitely interesting, at least from my point of view, for about an hour. Now, the nature of this UFO phenomenon is just so spectacularly different than anything we're used to in our everyday world. And from the authorities the authorities tell us, and they reassure us, that they don't want to disrupt our lives. They don't want us to freak out and have to adjust our normalcy. They don't want us to worry and fear and fret and have nightmares about what's going to happen to us when this vastly superior civilization reveals itself, and on and on and on. So this debate, this discussion continues on now, and my conspiracy on this, really seriously, is the reason this continues on is because it is a slow disclosure. And I get that there's a lot of people who want the blunt force trauma, just catastrophic disclosure, and tough luck to you. It ain't going to happen, I don't think. And if it does, I'll be happy to be proven wrong, but it's not going to be. They are, and again, the flip side of this, the bad thing about this is now we can get all the conspiracies going. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's an FBI psyops operation. They're lying to us. They're trying to control us. Now, there's actually a little question in my mind that that's exactly what they're trying to do, too. I mean, they've always done that. Governments have always controlled the populaces, and none of us are in government, at least that I'm aware of. And so I'm in the realm of being one of the controlled, right? They want me to integrate into the system and get a job and contribute my taxes and be an honorable and noble and loyal citizen of the republic and all that jazz. And I'm playing that role pretty good, I suppose. So the idea that they are just simply inventing this story in order to acquire more and more power, well, I mean, sometimes that looks like a pretty good bet. Other times I kind of go, nah, I don't think so. I think there's a ground reality to this based on, and what is so interesting, it's based on the written records of the past, the history. And one of my favorite historians of the UFO, Richard Dolan, and of course, George Knapp, who have interviewed so many people who have been so involved in different ways with the UFOs. Their testimony seems really rather remarkable. And then you get people who actually do take time in their lives and they go interview people and they ask what happened to them, abductees or people who have been visited. And the range in ages almost doesn't matter. The aliens are said to visit very young school children. They are said to visit everyday normal housewives. They are told that they visit farmers out in their fields who are in their 60s and 70s, etc. And it doesn't matter which country. It's all over the world. These stories keep coming out and amassing, and they have no reason to make it up because it's not going to get them money or fame. It's not going to help their lives become any easier. If anything, it's going to make it quite a bit more difficult for them to blend in with society if they get quite popular, etc. You know, Bob Lazar's story, which interestingly, Chris Ramsey was just on Dory, one of the programs, Dory, I think it was, Danny Jones, wasn't Danny Jones anyway, where he said he was with Bob Lazar for 24 hours and he came away convinced of Bob Lazar's story. Now, this is interesting because Bob is such a polarizing figure. You're either all for him or you're saying he's full of doo-doo. He's whacked. There's no middle ground with Bob Lazar. So it's very interesting that Area 52, Chris Ramsey, basically came away from his experience with Bob Lazar a believer in Bob Lazar's story. And so eventually I want to revisit that, and it's always good to revisit old topics, because once we think we have the handle on old topics and then things happen, years go by, experiences exchange and change us and everyone else, and you look back at a subject and you realize, oh, I missed this, I missed that, I didn't understand that, I disbelieved that, and now I believe that, I believed that, and now I don't believe it. Everything is in flux. And that drives you crazy. That's how that works. Hey, Dean Pollard. Good to see you. Heiser Soze, good to see you too. Well, and you know what? That's going to, I hope you don't mind if I do this to you, my friend, but yeah. Di Roberto, I don't want to be too negative. But humanity is so far away from spirituality and consciousness that I think it ain't gonna happen on our terms. Now, not that I'm an expert, because I'm not. I'm an enthusiastic student of this whole interesting phenomenon, but that's basically my approach. That's basically what I have been leaning into for quite a while. I began this entire enterprise with the idea of attempting to get us to, get ready to be spiritual enough, or to be physically prepared enough when disclosure happens. And it's just never going to happen. That's not how it's going to work. It's going to have a shock value that is beyond incredible, is my suspicion. And they will attempt to minimize the changes that is going to happen to us as much as possible, because there are going to be major earthquakes and it will completely transform our life here on Earth. Now, see, this is the narrative, and how everybody likes to, diss on the narrative, because it is a controlled narrative. Now, there's no question it's a controlled narrative. It has to be. This is potentially one of the effects and blessings, if I can put it that way, of the recent documentary, The Age of Disclosure, by Dan Farrow. On the other hand, interesting, have you guys watched Pavel Psychoactivo? He had a discussion where so many of the government officials that appeared in this documentary, I believe Farah had like 34 of them, 34, 30, 36, I think it was 34, which is a pretty big number for a documentary. I mean, obviously he put a lot of work into it, and the information that came out of some of these authority figures is so interesting, because we've been so brainwashed and claptrapped with believing authority figures as if they are the only ones that get truth, which is just pure bunk. And yet this has to rely on authority figures or nobody's going to watch it. We're squirrels in a cage, man. Well, if the authorities say it, it must be true. Now, that is true with politics. That is true with college, your professors, and that is true in religion, your pastors, your bishops, your prophets, etc. It almost just doesn't seem to matter which cultural aspect we are involved in, the politics, the religion, the secular. You always have to go to the authority figures. And I'm not kidding. With Tolkien, you have no other choice. You can't just start throwing stuff out there, making stuff up about Tolkien stories. You will get decimated. You really must stick with the authorities. That's why I happen to be so excited about this book, because Hofstadter is absolutely one of the top Tolkien scholars. So I'm going to be safe utilizing the material in his book on Tolkien, even if it's really spectacularly wild and way the hell out there. I'm going to be on safe ground quoting Hofstadter. It's the same thing with this UFO thing. The only way to, I was going to say improve the message. I don't know if that's the right nuance. It's not that we want to improve the message, is that we want to, at this point in time, we just want to get the message out. UFOs are real. The aliens really do exist. And no, they're not on 3i Atlas. It is not a mothership. I don't care how weird it's acting. It's doing its cometary thing, just like all other comets have. But there are other ways to understand how the aliens are around us besides all of these comets, which has been one of the biggest. And we have Avi Loeb to thank for that. But I'm on his side. I do respect his scientific stance because it is correct. That, just hear me out before you throw a rock at me, because I throw rocks back. Science is supposed to check all alternatives and sources, not prejudge stuff and decide, well, no, that one we're not going to because we don't like it. Bullshit. That ain't science. Get that subject right back here on the table, and we're going to examine it with as much vigor and rigor as we examine this particular science subject, that particular science subject, that one over there, and that one over there. Yeah. So I am entirely on his side in that regard. However, I am not on his side in ignoring all of the accumulated data of its cometary behavior, even though it has anomalies, because it's from a different part of our universe. It may not even be from our own galaxy. I am not agreeable to ignoring all of the data it's given us so far, showing that it has nothing to do with the UFO and there's no aliens on it. But he's wanting to keep the UFO question open. I get it. I can appreciate that, etc. It doesn't mean he's not a scientist. Those people who say, yeah, Avi Loeb isn't a scientist, they don't know what they're talking about. He, of course, is a valid scientist, astronomer, whatever you want to call him, but I think he's pushing this envelope too far. And it's all good. It's okay. So I've been wanting to say that for a couple of weeks because there's so many people that rag on Avi Loeb, and they're doing it from a non-scientific point of view. His entire approach, let me reiterate that, is absolutely valid scientifically. There's nothing to be ashamed of that way. But I mean, there's always a chance it can be a UFO or a mothership, etc. But the longer this thing flies through the sky, through space, and the further it gets, it's going to approach us, the closest approach, what did they say, 170 million miles, and it's going to be December 19th, I believe, 18th, 19th, where it'll have its closest approach to our Earth here on its way out of our solar system. Notice it didn't take any pit stops. All of those bullshit videos that hundreds of thousands of people lost sleep over, and they just wowed themselves up, and they got themselves all up in a lather. Oh my God, it's going to hit Mars. It's going to destroy our solar system. Oh my God, it's going to drop off things on Mars, and they're spying on us, and they're going to enslave us like the Anunnaki did in ancient times. All that stupid hullabaloo of bullshit is over. It's been past Mars now for several months. It made its way around the sun just like I said it would. I said back in August this was a comet, and it was going to act like a comet, and it was going to come whizzing by Mars, go around the sun, disappear, come back out. It's going to fly by Earth and go out past Jupiter. And so far, I am 100% correct. It just hasn't got far enough out to Jupiter yet. But I called that months ago, and everybody's freaking out. Oh my God, what do? We better, get our food supply and get clean drinking water because the aliens are coming. The aliens are coming. No, the aliens are not coming. For the love of God, can you turn your brains on for a few minutes? Good God. It's one thing to stay scientifically open-minded. It's another to lose your peace and security of mind over wing-ding conspiracies that are pure poppycock. Science is not wrong 100% of the time. People who think it's a conspiracy of scientists, and come on. I didn't mean to have this rant, but I get going on this kind of stuff. It's fun. It's good. It's good to explore. I appreciate the fact that the option is still there. But with the accumulated data now for the last year, we can say, quite frankly, very comfortably, I'm entirely comfortable in saying, of course, it's a comet. It does have weird behaviors. Of course, it does have weird physical properties. Yeah, sometimes it acts a little different. I'm all good with that. None of that means it's not a comet, however. What it means is it's a comet from way outside of our normal range of experience and normalcy, and it's showing us the variety of our own universe that we live in. It is not like all the other comets, but it doesn't have to be, and yet it can still remain a comet. That's my stance. So go ahead and lambast me. I don't give a flying flip. You want me to make my next prediction, and you know as well as I do, I'm going to be damn right. I'll be happy to. 3I Atlas could do some other weird stuff on its way out of our solar system. It really could. That will not show it's a mothership UFO. The aliens are not going to get off on a little beaker ship and come and land on Earth and tell us, take me to your leader. It's not going to do anything abnormal that way. It's going to keep right on buzzing out of our solar system past Jupiter. It's going to be pretty close to Jupiter, and it's going to keep on going and disappear. You heard it here again on the Backyard Professor. That is what 3I Atlas will do, and none of the AI videos have ever got it right yet because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. You want to know why? Because they're ignoring science, and they're putting their own stupid illogical thinking together. If you ignore the science, get ready to get ridiculed when it doesn't go your way because that wasn't scientific. Our best approach is the scientific approach. If you don't like that, your life's gonna suck. You drive an automobile, I presume. You certainly watch YouTube videos on a computer. You definitely have a telephone. I've got my telephone around here somewhere. Some of you have cameras, etc. We use the benefits of scientific technology because they work, because behind every computer is millions and tens of millions of hours of testing. And what has worked is what has been developed to the point where I can make YouTube videos, and no matter where you are in the world, you can watch them live as I'm doing it right here, right now. That's science benefit. It works. If you're going to come along and claim, well, no, science doesn't ever get anything right, you're proving yourself wrong by simply using your computer or your telephone or your automobile or your farm equipment. So I know every now and then I get on this rant, but I can't help it. I've read enough science. No, I'm not a scientist. I'm not even pretending to be. But I've read enough to know that when something works, that validates it as working. Come on, what other option do I have? The benefit of glasses, except mine, because like a nincompoop, I bought glasses that have my far sight so that I can drive, but I can't see spit up close, so I can't wear them. But if you're wearing glasses, you can thank science. That did not come because people got together and sang "Kumbaya, my Lord," holding hands and singing hymns to whichever God they worship. That came through a boatload of experimentation, both in understanding how our eyes actually function and how glass and concavity and convexity change how the eye sees. That's pure science. To say that glasses don't work is truly ludicrous. They do work. You can see it. That's my rant. I didn't, boy, I'm going way off script with this one. So again, Avi Loeb to be denigrated is just ridiculous. On the other hand, he's pushed this envelope realistically as far as he can push it. And if he continues pushing it after it goes past us December 19th and keeps on going out past Jupiter, if he still keeps insisting that it could be an alien ship, then he will lose credibility. Because all of the evidence, I've been saying it I said it till I was blue in the face and people stopped watching me. They went to the conspiracy nuts. And then they bitched and moaned and cried because, well, how come all of this is AI generated? Yeah, you want a quarter so you can buy a clue? I've got a quarter I'll give you. I mean, geez Louise, man. It's not that hard to figure out. Oh, well, I did not talk about anything I wanted to tonight. It's all right. It's all good. But, okay, I agree. Here we go. We are so ready for disclosure. I don't think we are at all. I don't think we understand at all what that entails. You and I might be. You, my audience, because you've been watching this stuff now for years on YouTube and reading the books. So in a way, I'll back off real quick, S-Bar. We might be, but we're not the ones that's the important ones. Because we are such a minority position that it is the rest of humanity who's going to freak out and destroy the world in their fear that the authorities are worried about. Those are the ones we have to get prepared for. So, well, if you think the military industrial complex is going to lose their edge, No offense, but you're being just a little bit naive, in my opinion. They won't ever lose their edge until the aliens show up and take over. If that's the agenda, that would be my proposal. So, they are giving us future inventions a little bit at a time, but they're doing it in a controlled manner. So, yeah. Anyway, that's one approach to it. And Stargazer has a point. This is part of the conspiracy, and I get it. It's unfortunate, but on the other hand, when we see a local emergency and we see how some people act who freak out and cause way more problems for the firefighters and or the ambulances, and they can't get their job done properly because idiots are trying to run the show, then we can see why it is that they don't want to discuss this stuff with us, because too many people will freak out, go grab their guns, load their guns, and start shooting anything that moves, even if it looks like a squirrel, because they're going to imagine everything's an alien and an enemy, etc. It's those who fly off the handle that they need to be wary of. Disclosure is not just a simple thing, is what I'm trying to tell you. So, yeah, in a way, I agree with that. The government's not going to tell us everything all at once. No, it won't be catastrophic disclosure. It just won't. On the other hand, I don't trust the government narrative. See, we're kind of in a catch-22 position here. We really... on the one hand, the government is a good ally. On the other hand, they're a bunch of blinkering idiots that don't know what the hell they're doing, and they're not helping. What do you do? We're kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place. On the one hand, I do want the disclosure. On the other hand, do I want the government to be the ones doing the disclosing? I'm not so sure. I don't know. See, this gets back to that authority issue. Without the authorities, you can't make a decision. Really? That's a tricky issue. Yeah, I can't argue with this either. Professor, I believe that they're just feeding us. They very well could be. I agree. In some respects, and not only that, I'll even make it worse. They're feeding us what they want us to know, what they think we can handle. Now, we love to imagine and pretend and believe what we can handle. I can handle the total truth. We love to take that stance. On the other hand, whenever there's been times in the past where the government has come out and told us the truth, there's been huge rebellions. And so the public proves you say one thing, but when the truth comes out, you muff it up. So how much do they tell us? They're leery about, mobocracy in the past has been a very real thing, and government heads have rolled. And so the government's aware of that, so they know better than to tell us the total truth. One, because they're so damn crooked that we would get rid of them one way or another, vote them out of office, do whatever it takes. So it's a very interesting thing how we have to, if you just simply accept everything the authorities say and just follow them, then you're a naive sucker, because they will exploit you and take advantage of you. And that goes in all areas of our culture: religious, historical, secular, scientific, political, every nature of our culture. If you're going to become a 100% believer and faithful follower, good luck. You're going to need it. On the other hand, if you completely rebel against it all, good luck. You're going to need it that way too, because you can't survive that way either. There's a fine balance. This is Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics. There's a middle ground, and that's what we're trying to shoot for. It's like the three pillars in the Kabbalah. On the one side, you have the pillar of severity. On the other side, you have the pillar of mercy. And in the middle is the pillar of balance. You don't want too much severity, but you don't want too much mercy. There has to be a balance to go the middle route. That's what the spiritual teachings tell us. We say we need to be, prepared spiritually for all of this. Okay. Are you willing to take a middle path? Or are you going to be so strident, so closed-minded that you insist everyone does it your way, period, end of story, or you label them an enemy? You're not on the middle path if that's your attitude. No. You must learn how to give and take. You must learn to agree with some and disagree with some other things and work together to sort them out, not just force the other ones to shut up. That's not the middle pillar at all. See, there's a psychological element here that so many of us in this country simply couldn't handle. We always like to be right, and I happen to know that I am 100% right, but everybody thinks that. And if we all stay there, then it becomes nothing but war. And so that doesn't work. So you have to readjust your thinking. Well, are there some things that I'm not right on? Well, yeah. Actually, there are some things I'm not right on, and I believe that 100%. When you begin to adjust and compromise, that's the whole way to do this. But nobody wants to do that. They think it's weakness to admit when you're wrong. It's not weakness to admit when you're wrong. When you're wrong, it's stupidity to force your wrongness, which you think is right. It's actually considered an evil to force others to accept your point of view anyway, especially if you have the power to do it at gunpoint. Then you're a tyrant. You see the issue there? It's so interesting how this balance thing comes to the fore. With this UFO subject, my suspicion is it won't be a government that is able to give us full disclosure anyway. So quit expecting it from them. They won't be the ones. They can't be the ones to do it. If the aliens are real, it will be from them that we get disclosure when they want to. They don't care whether you insist, I want to know by tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., damn it. I want to know you're real. Get your butts down here and tell me. Good luck. You know what I mean? Quit being such a redneck hillbilly idiot and get some maturity pretty quick would be my serious suggestion if that's your demand of the aliens. That's like screaming at God, which I used to do a lot. Complete waste of time to do that. So anyway, examine everything. Hey, other sheep. There we go. Here's my other balance. Here's my counterbalance with intellectual rigor and spiritual fulfillment. This man is us. I shouldn't tell him that on public, but yeah, examine everything. I'm with you, brother. Absolutely. And this is a pretty good point too. Space cow. Ooh. The entire pool of data must be filtered and examined, because the assumption that all data have equal value can be very misleading, can't it? I would propose it can. Absolutely so. If you think your interpretation is the only right one, you're a candidate of the loony bin, because you can't possibly be correct. But how many are out there who think just that way? And they say, we don't have to look at your data. We're right. You're wrong. I mean, isn't that the essence of the political bullshit we put up with in America right now? Everybody thinks they're right, and nobody is. It's the craziest damn thing I've seen in 65 years of living, man. So that is crazy. So, boy, I really got off the rails, huh? Where do you draw the line? And I don't know the context of what you're asking people in the chat to ask that, but that actually can apply to what I'm saying here right now, too. Galactic Hurricane. I love your title, man. Galactic Hurricane 3747. So there's been 3,747 galactic hurricanes in existence, and this is the man. Where do you draw the line? Where do we keep it rational? And there is a time to keep it rational, but there's a time when rationality will only take you so far, and then we have to take a step, the leap of faith, so to speak, beyond rationality if we're going to continue without destroying ourselves. And that's what we're not ready for. It's that leap of faith into belief that most of us are not ready for. And I'm including myself in that group because that's the tough one. That's the big one. That's the difficult one. That's what they're trying to prepare us to get to in order to survive, because rationality alone is very, very necessary and good up to a point, but it is not the end all be all. And I know there's going to be some who disconnect from me and never come back. It's all good. I bid you well, but I'm not kidding. Rationality is not the end all be all. But then neither is war, neither is politics, neither is religion, neither are books, neither is the computer, you know. If you can't remain flexible and adjustable because we are finite beings, then you're not going to make it. If you become rigid and the wind blows, you will be like the oak tree and blow over. Do what Bruce Lee taught. Be the willow and bend with the wind. Cooperate with it while it blows. Yes, you disagree with it, but you cooperate with it. Bend, and then you'll spring back and stay in existence. Something like that. So, boy, I'm just full of it tonight, aren't I? Oh my. Now you guys are having fun with the 3i Atlas stuff. Good. I'm not freaking out either. I think that's part of the government agenda, to be quite frank with you. They have to lie to us to an extent so that we don't freak out, because freaking out is worse for the greater good than having the truth. Isn't that an interesting dichotomy? Yeah. So they will lie to us somewhat in order so that we don't freak out. And I mean lies of omission. They just don't bother to tell us stuff. And lies of commission. They'll tell us something, but it's not quite totally the whole truth. But if they told it to us, we'd freak out and go to war. Well, that wouldn't help anybody, let alone the government. So wars are nasty, costly, immoral states of affairs that we do anyway if we don't get our way, which is silly. That's the problem with us humans. Who was it that said one of the aliens told them, they said, you know, of all the species out here in the cosmos, you earthling idiots are the only ones that still go to war. What in the hell is your problem? That's why you're not being invited into the cosmic neighborhood, because you're a bunch of spoiled, rotten, bratty little toddlers that think killing each other is correct. And none of the rest of us think that way. And we get to enjoy the entire cosmos You might have one or two rich people on your planet, or one or two smart people. All of us are filthy rich, all combined together. And there's more here than you can possibly own, have, partake of, and enjoy. But you're so short-sighted and ridiculously stupid that you still fight each other for mere crumbs on that little speck of dust you call home, when you've got the whole cosmos ahead of you and you're just too damn stupid to see the big picture. How do you convince people who still believe in war to grow up? You don't. That's why they're not talking to us. That's why there's been no disclosure. They have no obligation of any kind, moral, spiritual, or physical obligation to help us out if we're not going to cooperate. What is one of the first things our dumb military did when it saw UFOs? It shot at them. Talk about a bunch of dinks. First thing you do is you shoot it. Well, I didn't know if it was enemy. Is it any wonder? There's no surprise. You know, we love to say, yeah, we're ready. No, we're not. Look at what Russia's doing with Ukraine right now. Look at what they're doing in Africa right now. Oh my God, the horror of Africa right now. I mean, my gosh, you know, humanity isn't ready. And they're happy to leave us out of it. You know, we don't get to go to the party and enjoy the party out there in the cosmos. They don't need us. They've got it already. We need them. What do we do when they show up? We try to kill them and shoot them and enslave them and all that. Humans are real idiots. You know that? We really are. It's almost embarrassing to be of this species. I never thought I'd hear myself say that publicly, but wow. Talk about low IQ dingle dorks. So, all right. Anyway. Yeah, the technology is controlled, but the technology has always been controlled. Always. If it was allowed to run amok, we are so short-sighted, we would destroy ourselves. So it has to be controlled because we don't have the maturity as a species to let it run amok. Because the first thing we think of is, I want more power. I want to control everybody. I want to be the first trillionaire. And so you act like Elon Musk, you know? And what good's it going to do him? None at all. It certainly isn't going to buy him immortality now, is it? Right? His ridiculously stupid idea that in order to save the Earth, we have to go to Mars. If the whole world would collectively laugh our asses off at him instead of the few of us who see how utterly, insipidly, ridiculously stupid that idea is, it might put him down a notch or two where he needs to come back to, right? Just my thought. There you go. That's an interesting point, Timmer. I like technology, just not technology inside of me. Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting conundrum we have to pass probably sooner than later, I'm afraid. So it's coming. So anyway, boy, I'm way behind on the I don't know if you guys are cussing me out or agreeing with me or ignoring me. You're probably ignoring me, and I can't blame you. I'm ignoring myself. That's not true. The government will not always give you a bowl of crapola soup. That's false. See, this is the conspiracy thinking that we have to overcome. You're too far off to the side. The government is very, very, very beneficial to us if it does not become too evil. I mean, our taxes to improve our roads is valid, and it allows us safe travel across a land otherwise you wouldn't be able to see. You know, so I mean, there's good and bad, but if we can keep from going to the extreme, and I do this all the time, that's why I constantly have to apologize, because I go off to the extreme. But if we can keep from getting too extreme about anything, government or our neighbor or our bishop or whoever or whatever, religion, it's just junk, science, it's evil, those type of broad labelings really aren't effective, and they actually slow things down to accomplishing the better good for the whole, in my opinion. But there are times when it's called for to halt or else start certain aspects of either government or religion or philosophy or history or science in the world so that we can continue benefiting. That's what governments are supposed to be doing. So, Okay, this is an interesting point. Admitting I don't know the context, so forgive me if I'm just talking out of my mouth here. Admitting they know NHI exists would be a huge leap forward in becoming a unified species. I don't know who you think or who you mean they are, but if you're thinking of the government, they've already said this. In fact, it's in the Age of Disclosure documentary. I'm very sincere. We are to the point now to where it's not a question of, well, are they real or not? Now the issue is, what are we going to do to be able to begin to interact with them? Because they are here. They are here under our oceans. They are here among us in disguise, and they are here in our skies all the way out to the stars, etc. If that's the context of what you're saying. So I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. If I'm out of context, it's good. Just ignore me. That's what everybody does anyway. So this is good. So, and I agree with this. The Department of Defense has changed to the Department of War. We're going backwards. Absolutely. Man, I can't say this strongly enough or loudly enough. War is not the goddamn answer, man. It's why we aren't getting the benefits of our cosmos. This is exactly why we're stuck right here in jail right now, is because we think war is the only necessary conclusion, and it's the last worst one. But if you're not going to listen to reason, good luck getting through your wars, because it's going to destroy you. That's, again, no higher power has an obligation toward us to help us see a better way. If they love us enough, perhaps they might show up. But nobody's obligated. I mean, if we are so damn stupid and short-sighted after seeing all that we've seen as collective species to annihilate ourselves, the higher powers that be are going to let it happen. And then they get to come and harvest the earth, which we annihilated ourselves for, which is utterly ludicrous, because the earth is not full of gold and silver and goodies like the cosmos is. I did a lecture on the pillars of creation way the heck out there toward the middle of the Milky Way galaxy. It's 5 light years tall. It's 32 light years broad. There are over 500 quadrillion ton of gold in just that small section of the cosmos. And we want to kill for what small amount of just pea dust gold there is on this one little speck of dust, when the higher powers could teach us how to get there in just the blink of an eye? That's what I mean by short-sighted. Now, and of course, I'm using the idea of money and the economy and all that, but we really just don't deserve the higher knowledge. That's why we're just stuck in the dark. I get that. I mean, if the animal, whatever animal it is, nonstop attacks you every time you try to feed it or help it, what do we do with it? We put it behind bars. We put it in a cage. Did that ring a bell to anybody? Hello? Is it any wonder they're not letting us get off our own planet? Hello? Because we keep trying to kill everything in sight, thinking that's the solution. Instead of love and cooperation, we think of domination and power. We're still just dumbass monkeys out there swinging a stick thinking that's the way to reality and truth, and it's not. So I guess we'll just have to die off, and someone else more pleasant will enjoy the cosmos. Yeah. So anyway, well, I've ranted and raved for an hour on absolutely nothing I had prepared for, but it's okay. It's been kind of fun. It's kind of interesting to every now and then do this. Because I understand, I get it. Just because I'm the one making the video doesn't mean my points of view are valid and correct, etc. So don't take what I've said as the final word, but at least mull it over a little bit and see if there is some context that can be useful to enrich and expand the dialogue into a greater peace and harmony, because that's the only reason I make YouTube videos. Ultimately, is because it would be nice if we as a humanity species could elevate and grow together enough that we could be a blessing for all instead of the curse that we've let ourselves become, which is totally unnecessary. It just doesn't have to be this way. And yet here we are. We just, do we have the capacity to change? Sometimes I wonder. And I mean change for the good, for the more righteous. There's the key. People hate the R word, just like they hate the M word, Righteousness and morality. God, don't preach to us. We get that reaction, and I can't blame them. I do that as well. So what do you do? Because it's not going to be given to us. It's not going to be helping us until we learn to love. And if you don't like that, then you might be part of the problem. And we've had gurus in the past. Some say even gods tell us the same thing. Love your neighbor as yourself. Don't shoot your neighbor because they do something you don't like, you short-sighted redneck moron. Love them. Do they have to be like you in order to be likable? That means you're the problem. I hate to break the news to you, but that's the truth. So, there's I don't have the answers. I'm just the messenger tonight, I guess. Crap, maybe I was supposed to say this. I don't know. I feel like I've completely done wildly fun, interesting. I'm just talking as it comes to me, hoping the inspiration shows up and, I'll say what I think it should be said. So if you disagree with me, it's fine. I still bless you. I'm not going to sulk and lose sleep and chase you down and tell you what a moron you are and force you to believe my way. No, that's what the short-sighted people do. And that's why we are in the problems we're in, because people think that they have to force everyone else to believe like them, think like them, be like them, stink the way they stink, etc. Otherwise, they're not acceptable. Oh, man. How short-sighted can we get? So my advice is quit doing that. Just my thinking, you know. All right, you guys. Thanks. I've been going on for an hour, ranting and raving, and it's been fun. It's been interesting. I appreciate your discussion in the chat. I love these Sunday nights that we can get together and just kind of mull things over. Maybe next week I will do what I was going to do tonight. On the other hand, sincerely, I am so looking forward to getting into this book. I have discovered something about Tolkien, and I get it. Those who just don't study the Tolkien saga, the story and all, they can't see this. And it's okay. I don't need you to see it or believe it, but Tolkien really did teach truth. And he did it in such an incredibly magnificent way that is just heartwarmingly beautiful, even though there is vicious evil in this story. Well, there's vicious evil in our stories of our lives, too. That's part of reality. So I might just do a book review next week of this one. And so anyway, I hope all of you guys get ready for Christmas. What are you doing watching me tonight? You should be out shopping. Oh, wait, it's Sunday night. Stores don't stay open late until the last week before Christmas, and then they're open 24/7 all week long. So anyway, I wish you good luck in getting all your Christmas shopping done. I hope you wish me the same, because I'm not done. It's one of those things. I finish at Christmas Eve about, midnight. It takes me that long. It's all good. All right, you guys, have a good night. I love y'all, but I will be back. Hopefully this week I will just hit the like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. I am going to try to put together more videos for the week. So I appreciate all of you. I'm going to head out. You guys have a great week, and I will see you next Sunday, if not earlier during the week. As Schwarzenegger says, hasta la vista, baby.